have a look. We've gone round the back though. For the next 24 hours, I'm going to be surviving on this tiny 4-meter inflatable boat. I'm going to be eating, sleeping, fishing from this boat, something I've never done before. I've got a sleep system that I've never tested. The weather might be changeable through the night. We may get rain. The winds are due to possibly pick up a little bit. Nope. Feeling a bite on the first cast here. Let's have a look. We've gone round the back though. Oh yeah, look at that. Good sized mackerel there. That is a big one. Take that top one, I'll release the bottom one. Well, that was a great sized mackerel. Put the other one back. I'm only ever going to keep what I'm going to eat. Sustainability and all. Loads of mackerel out here anyway. Every time I dropped the rod it was picking them up.
I'm still in the ashes when you get dressed and leave. Oh, I better look for
So I'm going to go back into the bay now and find my spot for the night, and obviously figure out how I'm going to sleep on this tiny boat. I've packed it to the gunnels. It was not easy lowering this down the slip earlier. I just think it's a safer option. This is my first time ever sleeping on this inflatable boat, so I want to make sure that I don't end up in the North Atlantic by accident. To be fair, the fish finder does have a drag alarm, so we'll play around with that and see if we can turn that on through the night. Yeah, head back into the bay now and we'll get on to setting up the sleep system. So that's the yacht mooring. Obviously this boat weighs about 100 kilograms all in. That will hold me in a hurricane. We're not going anywhere tonight with that, which is great. Not much else going on. There's a yacht over there. He's just anchored, so I think this is a cracking spot for the night. Does fully tethered for the evening. Should be decent. Clouds are looking quite dark over there, but I'm hoping that's just the daylight disappearing. Fish finder's showing a few fish at about 15 feet there, so I've just dropped the rod in. There's loads of jellyfish off the boat. There's one right there. Oh, you can't see it. Just noticed the Manxman, which is our local ferry, is actually in Laxey Bay. I think today is the day they do like a tour of the island where you can just go on it and it goes around the island. But first I want to show you what I've brought and how we're going to work this. So just plastic cases. I've got all sleep systems, some cook gear in there. In the front bow bag I've got my anchor. You can actually see it there, but we're not going to use that tonight. I've got a British Army basher in there, which is like a tarp. Got some freediving gear. The rest of my freediving stuff is here. I've got a cot bed to try out just to keep me off, because they do get a little bit wet, these floors, but we'll see how that goes. This is all camera gear and a few just like Barika and rail blazer attachments depending on what I'm trying to do. This here is what it's been called the Swiss Army knife of seats. Fish finder, battery, heavy duty velcro and a strap for the battery actually. Ignore that, I've just put that mount there, but that's just a Barika mount, rail blazer mount with a mobile device holder and a compass and a dive knife, which you never know when you might need a knife. But yeah, none of this is sponsored obviously. Fuel tank, I've got extra fuel at the front. I did try and push out to Ramsey early on, and I met up with my mate Macca on his Homewave, and unfortunately conditions up there were not great, so I can't ask for better conditions than this. I'm actually going to try and set up the sleep system now. It involves using clips. I'll talk you through it once I've done it. I've got a 3-meter tarp that I fancy connecting on the back here and bringing to the front. I did try it in the boat park just before I came out, just to see. It was a little bit big, so I've brought the British military basher, which should be a little bit better, but if not, we can divert back to that. Tent is up. It's not the most perfect looking thing, but it will definitely keep the rain off me tonight if it does downpour. Hopefully. First test, quite impressed. Had to go to the bigger tarp, like I said. The smaller one, just I couldn't get tension properly. I've never suffered from seasickness before, but concentrating being bent over, tying up all the tarp and that, I definitely started to feel a little bit queasy, but I'm absolutely fine now. I've got a bit of organising to do in here. For some reason the centre line, I didn't pull it to the centre of the A-frame, but that's okay. I used these clips, a lot of these clips, they're like tarp holder clips, and they work really well. Quite a few of those, and then I also use these bungee sort of cords just to hold it in place. Yeah, she's pretty solid. It's not flapping around too much, but I need to get organised. I need to get a cot bed out here and get my sleep system set up. So that is going to be the plan right now, get the sleep system set up. But before we do, let's just take a minute to appreciate that I'm currently sat in the Irish Sea on a boat, and this is my view. I'm surrounded by jellyfish though. I've seen a pretty big one off the side just then. I can relax a little bit now knowing that I've got this set up, because I wasn't 100% sure if it was going to work. I just need to now get the cot bed out, build it, and find a place for everything that I've brought with me. I've brought so much stuff, but this boat can take up to 5 or 6 people, so it's not overloaded. This here is a camp bed I'm going to try. Nothing here was sponsored. This was really cheap, and I'll probably pay the price because it's so cheap, but I've got some good sleep mat stuff to put on top, so all being well, should be alright. Although we're not getting too much water in here, could quite easily just sleep on the floor here, but I'll give this a try first. So the camp cot bed did not work too well. It was sliding around on the metal, so I basically knocked that off, and it was a little bit too high. I want to leave this on because I do plan to set the anchor drag alert on the fish finder, so it's always handy to leave that on and have a look at it. So I've just gone for a foil backed camp mat with an inflatable, and then I've got my 2 pillows. I like 2 pillows. I don't know whether I'm going to sleep head this end or head this end yet. I'll have a little try of both shortly, and then my sleeping bag is in a dry bag here, which I'll break out. But I think I'll be plenty comfortable. The boat is fairly sedate. You can just really hear the waves, a little bit of wind, the odd bird, and that's about it. Another thing that's going to be really cool to try later on when it gets dark are these underwater lights. They're just 12-volt lights. I think one is yellow, one might be white, I'm not sure. But basically I just drop these under the boat and it illuminates it underneath of the boat. You never know, we might see some squid or something, but we'll have a look at that later. So I think for now I'm getting pretty hungry. The time is just after 9 PM. I'm going to fill it and eat that mackerel. I've got my jet boil here, I've got my pot support, etc. I'm going to pull the knife out of the way. I'm going to cook on this system here. Plenty ventilated. And it's nice and smooth. Obviously if it was rough you would not be cooking on gas. Just before I eat, another little cool gadget. None of this is sponsored, by the way. I've not been sent any of this for free. I paid for all this with my own money. Flextail Repel. Basically this here is a light, but also it's got insect repellent in it, so if I was anywhere, I don't know, up a creek or something, it's fine here with the breeze, but I can hang that up. And I do have a little spot for that to hang later, so it should be quite a nice little bit of ambience. That is going to go here. So out of my bedroom tonight, I've got a nice yacht over there. sounds of the ocean. So some safety equipment that we've got. My dive knife, we've got a secondary dive knife. Compass, always useful if this sort of stuff fails. And then I've got a VHF radio, and this is a personal locator beacon, which basically, if I pull that tab and press that button, it basically sends my GPS location via satellite in distress to the Coast Guard. So I don't know if you can see this, but I'm just going into alarms, and I'm going to put navigation and anchor drag on. And okay, so I've just set a radius now. I'm on anchor drag, so there's a perimeter around me now. If I drag anchor, it will tell me. Slight shocker. I tried to get all artistic, filleting and cooking the mackerel, and just made myself some really nice wraps with some peri sauce. And yeah, basically forgot to press record for the whole thing, which was a bit annoying, but they were lovely. I'm in my warm gear now as well. I've had a little bit of a tidy up in here. It's still not perfect, but it's a little bit better. I'm just downloading some footage from the GoPro, and I've also set up the power bank with all my stuff so I can charge it. I use it a lot when I'm in the van or whatever, or in the Defender, but it's really handy to charge everything, obviously, drone batteries, etc. So what I'm going to do, as it starts to go dark, what time is it now? Well, it's actually after 10 o'clock now. I'll deploy those 12-volt batteries and drop them in the sea shortly, and then we'll just see how they develop. I've also put the anchor light out for safety purposes now. Yeah, someone will say it's like wearing high vis and camo pants. I know, but it's the only tarp I've got, mate. Well, in fact, both tarps I've got a DPM or some form of camo on them. Okay, where's the on switch? Whoa, what's that going to do in the water, I wonder? Look. Do we think that's going to attract anything? Pretty interesting. I thought they would sink, weirdly. All the same, pretty cool. On the fish finder on the map, hopefully you can see it, it's got my anchor track there. If I deviate by a certain amount of feet, an alarm will go off in here and it will tell me. Also, on the sleep system, I mentioned I had a sleeping bag. I'm going to put it in a British Army Gore-Tex bivy bag, so that if, for whatever reason, any water does come into the boat, I'm going to be perfectly dry, irrespective. I've slept out on the hills just with that on its own, and I've always been dry. Very good bit of kit. Well, I'm in the bivvy now, in the sleeping bag, super cozy. Been monitoring the fishing camera, and nothing has shown up on the green light. It's not brought anything to the boat. I'll be honest, I can't really be bothered fishing. I'm just really enjoying it. This is my current view. Just broke a glow stick out. I've dimmed the brightness on the fish finder, and there we go. If anything changes in the night, the wind's slightly picked up, but it's pretty manageable. The sea is still very glassy out there. I'll report back. Otherwise, I'll see you in the morning. It's just after 2 in the morning now. To my absolute amazement, there is that bioluminescent algae in the water. Now, I'm trying my best to film it, but I've only really got action cameras and an iPhone, and it's just not showing it for what it is. As soon as you like move your hand through the water, it just glows up, like that scene from the beach. You've seen that film. I've seen this before, but never on the Isle of Man. In Bali it was, so... Okay, so those little sparkles you can see in the water, it's really bad footage, I apologise. This is iPhone footage. That's bioluminescent algae. I've just put my camera stick in the water. Look at that. I know it looks terrible on the camera, but honestly, I can't believe this is a thing here. It's lighting up with the movement as you'd expect. Oh, I just wish I had better cameras. Good morning everybody from the tiny inflatable abode. Pretty uneventful night. It hasn't rained. The wind stayed fairly calm. I've just been drifting around. Gradually woken up. My first sleep mat failed. That one, it went flat, and I had a spare, so I just inflated the other one. It was amazing how much of a breeze came through the front here, so I did actually have to wrap up quite warm. I was plenty warm in the sleeping bag. No beautiful sunrise to speak of, but I knew it was going to be a fairly cloudy day. I'll get up. I've got like a cereal bar or something, I'll eat that. I'm not going to cook anything. I'm going to make all this up and then just shoot across the bay. Let's do it. This is perfect conditions for a free dive. I am going to go free diving, but I'm going to chuck that in on a separate video because otherwise this video will be too long. I appreciate most of you are probably more interested in just the boat camping side of it. As far as the boat camping went, quite a few refinements I think I need to make still. But for a first go, I mean, yeah, the weather gods were good at us and we were on a yacht mooring. I want to develop this to be able to go on off anchor somewhere a bit more exciting, a bit more remote. Build that A-frame tent design to be a little bit sweeter. If you've got any suggestions, by the way, let me know down in the comments. I still am absolutely buzzing from that bioluminescent plankton or whatever it was last night. I know the camera probably didn't show it at all, but that is one of the best things I've ever seen. Just the whole boat was like stars all around the boat glowing, and then when I moved my hand through the water it was like crazy, amazing. But anyway, enough waffle. Hope you enjoyed that tiny boat adventure. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Hopefully we do a longer one of these, maybe a couple of days, going around the island perhaps. Let me know what you think. Cheers guys, have a great week, and as always, cheers for the support and watching my videos.